All right, so today we're diving into something that I think a lot of people think is really fun.
Yeah.
Eclectic interior design.
Yes.
You know, that look where like your home, it
Mm.
reflects you like as a person
Yeah.
instead of just like being the latest trends,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Like mixing and matching and vintage and modern and all that fun stuff.
Exactly. And it's interesting to see that like shift in design priorities, right?
Mm.
Like moving away from that really like perfectly staged catalog look
Right.
into something that's a lot more personal and authentic.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
And to help us kind of navigate this world of like curated chaos, we've got a fantastic article that we're looking at today called Modern Eclectic Interior Design Ideas to Transform Your Space.
Ooh, I like it.
It's got all these practical tips and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested in like the deeper insights. Like,
Mm.
how do you walk that line between
Mm.
like beautifully eclectic and just
All right.
like a yard sale explosion in your living room?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
eclectic design is about harmony and balance
Right.
amidst all that diversity, you
Mhm.
know? It's like weaving this really cool tapestry
Right.
with all these different threads from all these different times and cultures
Yeah.
and somehow finding a way to make them all work together beautifully.
Okay, so I'm already hooked.
Huh?
So where do we even begin?
Mm.
Like, what are even like the foundational principles of like what is eclectic design?
Well, the article highlights like three core elements.
Okay.
The first one is mixing styles and periods.
Okay.
So think about like Victorian chairs next to like a sleek modern coffee table
Mm-hmm.
or, industrial lighting and a Persian rug.
Yeah.
It's about breaking free from those constraints of any single design era
Hmm.
and embracing a more fluid, personalized approach.
So like you don't have to worry about if things match in like the traditional sense.
Right. It's very liberating.
Okay. I like that. What's the next element?
The second is expressing your creativity.
Okay.
This is really where your personal story comes through.
Mhm.
So maybe you love travel
Yeah.
and you have textiles and artifacts from your adventures,
Mm.
or you have a collection of vintage cameras
Right.
that you display in a really unique way.
Yeah.
So it's about letting your passions and interests guide your design choices.
It's like turning your house into a visual autobiography.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is that third element?
Well, the third and possibly most crucial
Mm-hmm.
is balance and harmony.
Okay.
So it's not about random clutter,
Right.
just throwing a bunch of stuff together.
Right.
You need to create a cohesive look and feel, even amidst all the diversity.
This is where it gets really tricky for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you create that sense of cohesion
All right.
without it being like too
Yeah.
contrived or like you're trying too hard?
Well, the article has some really cool strategies.
Okay.
One technique is to use a neutral palette as like a backdrop for brighter pieces. So you let each item stand out, but without overwhelming the space.
Mm.
So imagine a vibrant piece of art on a soft gray wall
Right.
or a colorful Kilim rug on like a polished concrete floor.
Ah, so you're like giving it that breathing room,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
to let those statement pieces shine.
Yes, yes.
Okay. What are some other ways to achieve that balance?
Well, layering textures is another big one.
Right.
Think velvet, leather, wool, silk.
Ooh, yeah.
These tactile elements
Mm-hmm.
add so much richness and depth to a room. It
Yeah.
makes it so inviting.
Yeah.
So you could have like a plush velvet sofa with a rough-hewn wooden coffee table,
Right.
or, a silk throw over leather armchair.
Yeah.
It's about the interplay of those textures, that visual and tactile interest.
Okay. I'm starting to get like a clearer picture now of how these elements all kind of come together.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking like,
Yeah.
what about eclectic versus bohemian?
Oh, good question.
Like, are those the same or is there a difference?
So they both kind of embrace a mix of elements.
Right.
But Bohemian leans more towards those natural materials
Okay.
and a more relaxed, carefree vibe.
Hmm.
So think about macrame wall hangings, rattan furniture,
Right.
lots of plants,
Yeah.
an earthy color palette.
Mm-hmm.
Eclectic, on the other hand, casts a wider net.
Okay.
It can have bohemian elements,
Right.
but it's not limited to that.
So it's like an umbrella term.
Exactly.
Okay.
And within eclectic design,
Mm-hmm.
you might see mid-century, modern, industrial, art deco, even some traditional styles all mixed together.
I love that you can pull from all these different sources of inspiration.
Yeah.
But okay, before we go too crazy with mixing and matching,
Right.
I want to talk about one of my favorite aspects,
Mhm.
which is those bohemian vibes.
Yes.
Like, what are some of the key elements that we should be looking for?
Okay, well, one of the hallmarks is the use of natural materials.
Okay.
So think wood rattan, wicker, linen, cotton.
Mm-hmm.
All those add warmth, texture, and connection to nature. And that ties in perfectly with the growing trend of sustainability
Right.
in interior design.
Definitely noticing a shift towards like more sustainable, eco-conscious choices,
Yes,
which is really great
absolutely.
to see that people are thinking about that.
Yeah, and using natural materials is a great way to get that.
Uh-huh.
Now, another key element of bohemian style is vintage rugs and layered textiles.
Ooh, I love a good vintage rug.
Yeah.
They have so much personality.
So much character.
Like they can really tie a room together.
They really can.
Any tips on like finding those hidden gems?
Well, we'll get into the specifics of vintage furniture shopping a bit later.
Okay.
But for now, just know that flea markets, antique shops, online marketplaces,
Yeah.
those are your best friends.
Right.
And don't be afraid to haggle.
Yes.
You never know what kind of deals you can find.
That's great advice.
Hmm.
Okay, so we're starting to build our eclectic foundation,
Yeah.
with those bohemian touches. But I'm also wondering, like, how do you make sure it doesn't feel too theme heavy?
Right.
Or like you're trying to recreate a specific era?
Right. You want to strike that balance?
Yeah, how do we strike that balance?
One way to prevent your space from being like too boho is to mix those elements with more modern pieces.
Okay.
So think about a sleek, minimalist sofa with a colorful Killam rug and some vintage throw pillows.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's about creating that contrast,
Yeah.
that unexpected juxtaposition of styles.
Uh-huh.
That's what gives eclectic design its energy and
love it.
prevents it from being too predictable or staged.
Yeah.
It's about creating a space that feels curated and collected
Mm.
rather than like overly designed.
Okay, I'm really starting to get this now.
Good.
So we've got our understanding of what eclectic design is.
Mhm.
We started to explore those bohemian elements.
Yeah.
What is next on our journey to creating like a truly unique space?
I think we should move on to one of the most exciting aspects of eclectic design, sourcing vintage furniture.
Ooh, yes.
It's like going on a treasure hunt
Mm-hmm.
to discover these unique pieces with stories to tell.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm ready to embark on our vintage treasure hunt.
Great.
Where do we even begin?
Well, the article suggests we focus on a few key vintage styles
Okay.
that are particularly versatile and easy to integrate.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily for us,
Yeah.
there's been this huge surge in popularity for these pieces,
Right.
driven by both aesthetics
Mm-hmm.
and a growing awareness of sustainability.
It seems like everyone's falling in love with the vintage furniture,
They are.
which I love because it's like
Yeah.
you're getting this like unique piece
Yes.
with all this character,
Uh-huh.
but you're also reducing your environmental impact by giving something a second life.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
a perfect marriage of style and sustainability.
Yes, it is.
So let's start with one of the most iconic vintage styles,
Okay.
mid-century modern.
Yes, mid-century modern.
It's so classic and timeless.
Yeah.
It works with pretty much anything.
It really does. What is it about those pieces that just makes them so enduring?
I think it's the clean lines, the functional designs. They
Right.
complement modern and traditional pieces.
Yeah.
And there are just so many incredible mid-century modern finds out there.
Right.
From, the iconic chairs like the Eames lounge chair
Oh, yeah.
to sleek sideboards and credenzas.
Yeah.
Those add a touch of retro cool to any space.
I'm picturing it in my dining room right now.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What's next on our vintage list?
Art Deco.
Ooh, Art Deco.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, tell me about Art Deco.
Well, it's known for its bold geometric shapes,
Mm-hmm.
luxurious materials like velvet and chrome,
Mm.
and these really intricate details.
Yeah.
They add such a touch of glamour and sophistication.
Right.
Think statement pieces like mirrors, lighting fixtures, accent tables.
Oh, I'm picturing that stunning mirror above a fireplace.
Yeah.
Just like old Hollywood glamour.
Exactly. And imagine that mirror reflecting the warm glow
Yes.
of a vintage brass chandelier.
I love it.
It creates such a focal point
Yes.
for the room.
Okay, so we're on the hunt for mid-century and Art Deco.
Mm-hmm.
What else should we be looking for?
Well, the article also talks about the rising popularity of 1970s modular furniture.
Okay.
This style is all about functionality and flexibility,
Right.
which is perfect for creating a really dynamic and adaptable space.
Mhm.
So think those cool sectional sofas that
Yeah.
you can rearrange.
Right.
Or modular shelving units.
Oh, I love modular anything.
Yes.
Especially if you're like moving
Yeah,
or,
exactly.
life's changing.
Yeah,
You could just change it with you.
exactly.
But how do we know
Yeah.
if we're getting the real deal
Right.
and not like a reproduction?
Good question. Yeah.
Like how can we tell?
Identifying authentic vintage pieces
Mm-hmm.
can be tricky,
Yeah.
but there are some key things to look for. First, check for those original labels or stamps.
Okay.
They often indicate the maker and the era.
Mm-hmm.
You can also do some online research
Right.
or consult with an expert if you're unsure.
Right. Okay. Good advice. I don't want to get tricked.
Yeah, you don't want to end up with a knockoff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we found some amazing vintage pieces.
Yes.
What's next?
Maintenance.
Yeah.
This is the important part.
Of course we want these pieces to last a long time.
Yeah.
So what do we need to know?
Well, vintage furniture often needs a little extra TLC
Right?
to preserve its condition and ensure its longevity.
Okay.
So regular cleaning is crucial.
Mm.
Use gentle cleaners that are appropriate for the material.
Right.
For wood furniture, a soft, damp cloth is usually enough.
Okay.
For upholstery, check the care instructions before you use any cleaning products.
Okay, that makes sense.
Oh.
I'm also guessing that some of these pieces might need some restoration work.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Restoration could involve anything from revarnishing wood surfaces to reupholstering chairs or sofas
Right.
if you're not comfortable tackling those repairs yourself.
Yeah.
There are plenty of skilled professionals
Yeah.
who specialize in vintage furniture restoration.
Okay, good to know.
Mm-hmm.
So we've covered the proper care and maintenance
Yeah.
of our vintage treasures.
Yes.
What's next?
I think it's time to get really creative
Yeah.
with one of my favorite aspects of eclectic design,
Okay.
mixing patterns and textures.
Yes. This is the part I've been waiting for.
I know, this is where you can really let your personality shine
Yes.
and create a space that is just visually dynamic and inviting.
Okay, I'm ready to experiment.
Yeah,
I'm a little nervous too, though,
Mhm.
about getting it right,
I understand.
So how do we achieve that balance
Right.
between playful and, like, overwhelming
Yeah.
when it comes to patterns and textures?
Well, the article has some really cool advice to help us navigate this.
Okay.
It encourages us to experiment with combining different textiles.
Yeah.
So think floral patterns, geometric shapes, bold stripes,
Yeah.
and all of these different fabrics like linen, cotton, velvet, leather.
Right.
So we're embracing that happy clashing that
Yeah.
Sophie Ashby talks about.
Yes, exactly.
So letting go of the idea
yeah.
that everything needs to match perfectly
Right.
and instead embracing those unexpected juxtapositions that create visual interest and energy.
Right.
But of course, there's some strategic approaches.
Okay. I'm all ears.
Okay, so one key tip
Mm-hmm.
is to start with a consistent color palette.
Okay.
So choose 3 or 4 colors that you love
Right.
and use them as a unifying thread throughout the room.
Mm-hmm.
This helps create visual harmony,
Right.
even when you're working with a variety of patterns.
So, like, if I'm drawn to, like, warm, earthy tones,
Yeah.
I might choose, like, a terracotta, a mustard yellow,
Mm-hmm.
a deep green,
Yes.
and then I would use those in, like, my patterns and textures for my furniture
Exactly.
and rugs,
Yeah.
all of that.
And don't be afraid to bring in neutrals, too.
Oh, yeah.
Whites, grays, beiges.
Right.
They can help to ground those bolder patterns, create a sense of balance.
Yeah, it's like creating those little visual pauses,
Yes.
amongst all the excitement.
Exactly.
Okay, what other tips do we have for, like, mixing patterns effectively?
Vary the scale of the patterns.
Okay.
So maybe bring in one large scale pattern
Mm.
and then balance it with several smaller scale patterns.
Okay.
This helps to create visual interest
All
and it prevents any one pattern from dominating the space.
So, like, I could have a large-scale floral on my rug
Yes.
and then maybe smaller geometric patterns on throw pillows.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to mix different types of pattern.
Okay.
Like florals with stripes or geometrics with organic prints.
Right.
It's all about creating that layered complexity that feels both cohesive and visually stimulating.
It's like a visual symphony,
A beautiful
Like
analogy.
each element is playing its part,
Yeah.
but together it's harmonious and captivating.
Exactly.
Right.
And remember, the
Mhm.
most important thing is to trust your instincts and have fun with it.
Yeah.
There are no hard and fast rules when it comes to this.
Hmm.
It's about what feels right to you
Yeah.
and what brings you joy.
Okay, so we've mastered the art of mixing patterns and textures.
We're getting there.
I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Uh-huh.
What's next?
I think it's time to add a touch of global flair.
Okay.
We're going to incorporate some global-inspired accents.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah, this is where you can really infuse your space with personality
Hmm.
and tell the story of your travels,
Yeah.
your heritage, or simply your love for different cultures.
I'm picturing colorful textiles,
Yeah,
unique artifacts,
yeah,
pieces that spark conversation
exactly.
and kind of transport me to far-off lands.
Yeah. Okay, so how do we incorporate these global elements effectively?
Well, the first step,
Yeah.
as always, is to identify your personal style.
So what cultures or regions resonate with you?
Right.
What kind of stories do you want to tell through your space?
Hmm.
Once you have a sense of direction,
Yeah.
you can start exploring different global design elements.
Okay, so like if I'm drawn to the
Yeah.
vibrant colors and intricate patterns of Moroccan design,
Yes.
I might start looking for textiles
Mm-hmm.
or ceramics or lighting fixtures
Right.
with those elements.
Exactly.
But I'm not trying to recreate a whole Moroccan themed room.
Right. Right.
It's about incorporating those
Yeah.
in a way that feels authentic and personal.
Exactly.
So like maybe a Moroccan rug layered over a neutral colored carpet
Yeah.
or a few colorful throw pillows
Yeah.
on a modern sofa.
Perfect.
And art too.
Yes. Artwork is huge.
Yeah.
Incorporating pieces from different cultures can
Yeah.
add such a unique and meaningful touch.
So I'm picturing like a
Yeah.
beautiful piece of Aboriginal art on the wall or a collection of hand-woven baskets
Yeah.
from South America or something.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah, and when choosing these artifacts and artwork,
Yes.
we should look for pieces that tell a story.
Exactly.
Like maybe things you've collected on your travels,
Right.
family heirlooms,
Yeah.
or things that you just find really interesting.
I love that it's like creating a mini museum
Yes.
in your own home.
Okay, so we found all this amazing global inspiration.
Yes.
How do we incorporate it without going overboard?
Right. Balance is key.
Mm-hmm.
As with any aspect of eclectic design,
Yeah.
you don't want to overwhelm the space with too many global elements.
Okay.
So choose a few key pieces
Mm-hmm.
that resonate with your existing decor
Right.
and allow them to shine.
So if my space is already super colorful and patterned,
Yeah.
I might choose a more subdued global accents,
Exactly.
like a simple wooden sculpture or something.
Or a woven wall hanging.
Right, and don't be afraid to rotate them too, right?
Absolutely.
To keep things feeling fresh.
Yeah, and to prevent it from becoming too cluttered. Okay, so it's like a constantly evolving exhibition in my own home.
I love that.
Okay, so we've covered these 5 main steps
Yeah.
to mastering eclectic interior design.
Mm.
But I'm guessing there's more
Oh, there's always more.
to it than that, right?
Yes.
Like some more nuanced tips and tricks to really take things to the next level.
Yes, the article offers some advanced tips for successful eclectic design,
Okay.
which we'll explore next.
Yeah.
And I'm particularly excited about biophilic design,
Ooh, what is that?
which focuses on bringing the outdoors in.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Let's dive in.
Let's do it. So are you ready to take your eclectic design skills to the next level?
I think so. Let's hear it.
Okay, well, remember we talked about those bohemian vibes?
Yeah.
And how they have that connection to nature?
Right. Yeah.
Well, that leads us to biophilic design.
Okay. Biophilic design. I'm intrigued. It
Yeah.
sounds very zen
It is.
and nature inspired.
Yeah, it's all about incorporating elements of nature into your interior design
That's
to
cool.
create a space that feels more connected to the outdoors, even when you're inside.
Right.
And it goes beyond just adding a few houseplants.
Okay.
Think natural light, organic materials,
Yeah.
even colors and patterns that evoke the natural world.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so how can we incorporate those biophilic design principles into our eclectic spaces?
Well, you mentioned plants.
Yeah.
They're a great starting point.
Yeah.
Not only do they add visual interest,
Yeah.
they purify the air and they bring this sense of life and energy to a room.
These are
You
great.
could create a statement plant wall. You
Yeah.
could hang trailing plants from the ceiling,
Mm.
or, just cluster a variety of pots on a shelf or windowsill.
Yeah, and I've seen people use vintage suitcases and teacups as planters.
I love that.
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's about finding those creative ways to kind of incorporate those elements.
Yeah.
And beyond plants,
Yeah.
you can also consider using natural materials like wood, stone, bamboo in
Oh.
your furniture, your flooring, your accessories.
Okay.
So think about a reclaimed wood dining table,
Mm-hmm.
a woven seagrass rug,
Mm-hmm.
or a stone fireplace surround.
Oh, yeah.
These elements bring a sense of warmth, texture, and grounding to a space.
Yeah, I love how that just seamlessly blends with Eclectic.
Yeah.
It's just all about embracing the natural
Yes.
and incorporating it in a way that feels personal.
It really is about that personal touch, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so what are some other ways we can bring biophilic design into our homes?
Well, maximizing natural light is a big one.
Okay.
Consider using sheer curtains or blinds
Mm-hmm.
to let in as much sunlight as possible.
Hmm.
You can also use mirrors to reflect light,
Right.
create a sense of spaciousness.
Yeah, natural light just transforms a room.
It does.
Everything feels brighter and more open and more inviting.
Yes, and if you're limited on natural light,
Mm-hmm.
you can use artificial lighting to kind of create a similar effect.
Okay, how do you do that?
We'll look for bulbs that mimic natural daylight
Mm-hmm.
and use a variety of light sources to create a warm and inviting ambiance.
Okay, I'm taking notes.
Good.
Okay, so we've got plants, natural materials, light.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Well, the article also talks about incorporating patterns and colors
Oh, okay.
that evoke the natural world.
Right.
So think leafy greens, earthy browns,
Right.
ocean blues, sunset oranges.
Hmm.
You can use these in your paint, your wallpaper, your textiles, your artwork.
So if I wanted to create a really serene and calming bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
I might choose like a palette of soft greens and blues,
Yes.
inspired by like a forest or a seascape.
Exactly. And you could incorporate those colors into your bedding, your curtains,
Yeah.
artwork,
Right.
creating that cohesive and tranquil atmosphere.
I'm feeling relaxed already.
Haha.
Okay, so biophilic design, we got it.
Yes.
What's next?
Well, the article talks about establishing a central theme
Okay.
for your eclectic design.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this could be a color palette, a specific time period, a cultural influence, or even a personal passion.
Okay.
Having a theme helps to anchor your design choices.
Right.
And ensure that everything feels cohesive.
Right, like a guiding principle
Exactly.
or like a story that you're trying to tell.
Yes. And it could be as simple as choosing a color palette that you love
Mm-hmm.
and then incorporating those colors into your furniture, textiles, accessories.
Right.
Or it could be more complex,
Okay.
like drawing inspiration from a specific culture or time period
Okay.
and incorporating those elements.
I'm picturing a home inspired by the colors and patterns of India,
Beautiful.
like with textiles and carvings and brass.
Yes.
Or maybe like mid-century modern with those clean lines
Mm,
and warm colors.
you'd love that.
Yeah. And you could even blend those together, right?
Absolutely.
To create something truly unique.
That's the beauty of eclectic design,
It is.
You can have elements of mid-century modern with bohemian touches and a dash of global flair.
It's all about finding that balance
Exactly.
that reflects you.
It is
Okay, this is all very inspiring,
good.
but I'm also wondering about the pitfalls.
Hmm.
What are some things to watch out for?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is striking that balance between incorporating a variety of styles
Right.
and avoiding a cluttered or overwhelming space.
That's what I'm worried about.
I understand.
I love the idea of mixing and matching,
Yeah.
but I don't want it to look like a chaotic jumble.
You don't want it to feel like a chaotic jumble.
Yeah, how do I know when I've crossed the line
Right.
from eclectic to chaotic?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And the article has some practical advice for that.
Okay, good.
One key tip is to set limits
Okay.
on the number of styles you're incorporating.
Right.
It's okay to mix and match,
Yeah.
but you don't want to try to cram every design era
Right.
into one room.
So maybe choose 2 or 3 key styles
Exactly.
and build around those.
And within those styles, you can still incorporate a variety of pieces and textures
Mm-hmm.
to create visual interest.
Okay, good tip. And what about the rule of threes?
Oh, yes, the rule of threes.
I've heard of that.
Yes, grouping objects in odd numbers.
Yeah?
It creates a sense of visual balance.
It's amazing how those little design principles
I know.
can just totally change a space.
They can change everything.
Yeah,
And the article also emphasizes functionality and comfort.
of course.
It's great to have a space that looks amazing,
Mm-hmm.
but it also needs to be a place where you can relax and feel at home.
It's got to be livable, right?
It does.
Like I might fall in love with a chair,
Yeah,
but if it's not comfortable, I can't really have it in my living room.
exactly. And sometimes that means making compromises.
Right.
Maybe you have to choose between a visually striking piece
Yeah.
and a more functional one.
Right.
Maybe you need to edit your collection of beloved objects.
Editing is hard,
It can be,
especially if you love things.
especially when you're attached to things.
Yeah. But I know it's important
Or it is.
for balance.
Yes.
So that it doesn't look too cluttered.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's all about finding that balance.
Yeah.
And speaking of finding balance,
Mm-hmm.
the article also talks about rearranging furniture
Ooh, yes.
to improve spatial harmony.
This is where the magic happens.
This is where it gets fun.
Because just like moving a piece a few inches
I know.
can totally change the look of a room.
It can transform the space.
Yeah.
And the article actually gives us a step-by-step guide
Okay.
to achieving that perfect balance.
I love it. Okay, tell me.
So first, you evaluate your current layout,
Okay.
take a step back, analyze what's working and what's not.
So maybe my sofa's blocking the natural light,
Exactly.
or my favorite chair is hidden in a corner.
Or nobody sits in it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once you've identified the areas that need some attention,
Mm-hmm.
the article suggests realigning furniture focal points.
Okay.
So this could be a fireplace,
Right.
a window with a beautiful view,
Yeah.
or even a statement piece of art.
So instead of having the furniture facing the TV,
Mhm.
I might have it like circled around a fireplace.
Yes, that's a great example.
Okay.
And if your space is large enough,
Yeah.
the article talks about creating zones for different activities. So
Right.
you might have a reading nook, a dining area, a workspace,
Yeah, all in one big room.
all in one space.
I like that.
And of course, it's important to maintain pathways
Right.
between those zones.
You don't want people tripping over furniture.
Yeah, you don't want to create an obstacle course.
Exactly.
So it's about creating that natural, effortless flow.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to experiment with different placements. You
Mhm.
know, sometimes pulling a sofa away from the wall or
Right.
angling a chair
Yeah.
can make a huge difference.
I've totally had those aha moments.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
And lastly, get a second opinion.
Right?
Sometimes a fresh perspective can really help.
That's true because you can get so caught up in your own vision that you might miss something.
You need that fresh set of eyes sometimes.
Yeah.
Whether it's a friend, family member, or a professional designer.
Yeah.
Get some feedback.
Okay, good advice.
So I think we've covered some really great advice here
Hmm.
for troubleshooting those common issues.
I'm feeling a lot more confident about this eclectic design thing now.
Good.
But before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to talk about those resources
Yes.
that the article mentions.
Yes.
What are some of the books and courses and things?
Okay, well, the article gives us a really amazing curated selection
Good.
that can really take our understanding to the next level.
Okay, I'm ready.
So for a comprehensive guide to creating a stylish home,
Mm-hmm.
the article recommends Domino, Your Guide to a Stylish Home.
Oh, yeah, Domino.
By the editors at Domino Magazine.
They always have such a great eye.
They do.
Yeah, okay. What about like eclectic and bohemian specifically?
Well, for that, the article suggests The New Bohemians, Cool and Collected Homes
Ooh.
by Justina Blakeney.
I love Justina Blakeney.
She's fantastic.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And for those who prefer a more structured learning approach,
Mm-hmm.
the article recommends online courses
Uh-huh.
like Interior Design Fundamentals on Coursera and Interior Design Principles on Udemy.
Okay, cool. So you can get like a deeper understanding.
Yeah, a deeper understanding of those design principles.
Right.
And if you're looking for shorter reads
Mm-hmm.
that focus on specific aspects,
Okay.
the article suggests checking out articles like Blending Aesthetics and Function in Interior Design from Architectural Digest
Okay.
and The Art of Eclectic Design on Elle Decor.
Oh, that sounds great.
They're really great resources for inspiration.
Yeah, and learning from the pros.
Yes,
Okay, I'm definitely checking those out.
I think you'll really enjoy them.
So beyond the practical tips
Mm-hmm.
and the visual inspiration,
Yes.
what else does the article talk about?
It talks about the deeper significance of eclectic design.
Oh, okay. I'm curious now.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So the article emphasizes that eclectic design is a powerful form of self-expression.
It encourages personal innovation
Mm.
and allows you to create a space that truly reflects your unique story.
It's like turning your home into a visual representation
Exactly.
of who you are
Of who you are
and what you love.
and what you love.
Yeah.
And the article highlights that more and more people are embracing bold color choices
Oh, yeah.
in their eclectic interiors.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, it's a testament to the growing desire for spaces that feel vibrant and energetic and full of life.
It's like people are moving away from that like neutral
Okay.
cookie cutter look,
Exactly.
embracing their individuality.
Yes, I love that.
I love that too.
And designer Nate Berkus
Yeah.
sums it up perfectly.
Okay, what does he say?
He says, your home should tell the story of who you are and be a collection of what you love.
I love that.
Eclectic design gives you the freedom to do just that.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've explored the ins and outs,
Yeah.
from the practical tips to the deeper meaning.
Anything else we should keep in mind?
Well, the article offers a few key takeaways
Oh.
to guide us on our path.
Yeah.
First and foremost, it reminds us that balance is essential.
Right, like curated, not chaotic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it encourages us to start small.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to transform our entire homes overnight.
Right.
Maybe choose one room to focus on,
Mm-hmm.
experiment with different pieces and styles,
Right.
gradually build from there,
Yeah, like that.
and most importantly, trust your instincts
Mm-hmm.
and be patient.
Okay.
Our unique style will emerge over time.
Yeah, it's a journey, not a destination.
It is.
I love that.
Yeah,
Okay, well, this has been such a great deep dive.
it has.
I feel like I've got a whole new understanding of eclectic design now.
I'm so glad.
So before we wrap things up,
Mhm.
do you have any final thoughts for our listeners?
I do.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the how-to of eclectic design,
Yeah.
but I think it's equally important to consider the why. Why does a certain style, object, or color speak to you?
Mhm.
What feelings does it evoke?
Right.
What memories does it trigger?
Because when we understand the reasons behind our choices,
Yes.
we create a space that's not just stylish,
Mm-hmm.
but also meaningful and personal.
It becomes an extension of ourselves.
Right.
A reflection of our values, passions, experiences.
Yeah, it's like the difference between wearing a costume
Yes.
and wearing clothes that express your personality.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So, as you embark on your own eclectic design journey,
Mm-hmm.
take some time to reflect on those deeper motivations.
Okay.
What stories do you want your home to tell?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of energy do you want to create?
Right.
What feelings do you want to evoke?
Those are such good questions.
Mhm.
It's not just about filling your space with pretty things.
No.
It's about creating a space that like nourishes your soul
Exactly.
and brings you joy.
Absolutely. And remember,
Yeah.
there's no need to rush the process. Eclectic design is a journey, not a destination. Allow your style to evolve organically
Yeah.
and enjoy the process of discovering what truly speaks to you.
I love that.
Yeah.
This has been fantastic.
It has.
I feel like we've really gotten to explore
Mhm.
eclectic design,
Yeah.
what it means.
I've really enjoyed it.
Okay. And to all our listeners out there,
Yes.
we encourage you to embrace your own eclectic journeys.
Yes.
Let your home be a canvas for your self-expression.
Mm-hmm.
Fill it with things that bring you joy and inspiration,
I love that.
a sense of belonging.
Beautifully said.
And remember,
Yeah.
as you curate your eclectic space,
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to break the rules.
Yes.
Experiment with different styles.
Yeah.
And most importantly, have fun.
Have fun.
Until next time, happy decorating.